Okay, I think maybe I'm figuring some things out. I got the top plate taken off. I put the advanced lever back on just so I could wind the shutter um, to keep exploring. With the advanced lever off, I can see more mechanical activity. Like back here, you can see movement, as well as around here, you can see some movement. And then you can also see, coming closer, maybe tilt it up a bit. As I turn the shutter, you can see better how that rod pitches forward and back as I change the shutter speed dial. Very interesting. So originally I was shorting the shutter curtain, or shorting the shutter down here. I'm going to come back so you can get the whole picture of the base plate. I was shorting the shutter all the way down here by coming in right here, where, well, this is the same rod. This rod hooks under this plate, and so I'll just come right here. I was shorting the shutter right there. So that was my original way of releasing it. And then I discovered that, ooh, I opened it. Okay, good. I didn't spill anything. A lot of little pieces. So I was originally shorting the shutter right here with that hooking piece. Then next I was realizing that this piece engages with that hooking piece, so I was shorting the shutter that way by releasing it that way. And then I was realizing that that piece was connected here. That piece is this piece. Get better in frame. That and that are the same piece. So I was messing with the shutter here. And that piece, actually, I don't know what the shutter speed is set to, but if it's at a slow speed, that actually engages with the slow shutter mechanism. Which, well, it worked fantastic that time. That was fantastic. So very gradually, I've been working my way up, physically, up the camera, getting closer to the actual shutter button. So from this piece, this is a lever that, as you can see, if I push forward on this side, you can see it coming back. You can see it coming back on this side. So I push forward, it comes back over here. And remember, as I change the shutter speed, that whole rod pitches. And you can see that that pitching movement pitches against that lever right there. And so there is movement in this rod enough to lift forward that much. And you can see, that's a great angle actually, you can see how that I'm pulling the rod all the way forward. It's not enough to engage right here to release the shutter down here. But maybe there's an adjustment that needs to be made in this piece, somewhere. Maybe this screw can be adjusted, loosened, and this is like a scissoring piece right here. So maybe this can be adjusted, and this piece can be brought down to where it more closely touches against this piece, to where when this comes forward like that, it'll release the shutter. Coming back up here, pressing the shutter button doesn't actually move that piece, but as you can see, as I move that piece forward, come better into frame, as I move that piece forward, there is play up there. That play, and you can see it happening as I move the shutter dial. So and another thing I discovered is, so I move the shutter dial and that piece, that rod comes back and forth, and there's movement in here in this slot. But this piece moves only when I actually physically pull that rod forward. This piece does not move when I actually change the shutter dial, but it does move when I pull that rod forward. So it makes me wonder if maybe there's a missing linkage between the shutter button and somewhere in here that the shutter is supposed to be activating and causing some sort of movement, that this is somehow how the shutter is meant to release. I looked at a service manual for the FM, the original service manual, and it is just a big parts diagram, an exploded view of different angles of the camera, and doesn't explain exactly how things interact. It just shows all the pieces. So it doesn't really help me. It doesn't. But so maybe there's two things at play is my thought process here. Maybe there's a missing link up here that the shutter is supposed to be pressed, and that causes this rod to come forward like that. Shutter gets pressed, rod comes forward. And then the second piece is the fact that the rod comes forward, like we talked about, but this needs to be adjusted to where it more closely sits against there so that it can release the shutter. Although do that doesn't make sense, because when I release the shutter like that, am I on a slow shutter speed right now? Well, I'm not on a slow shutter speed right now. There we go. If I release down here, does that activate the slow shutter mechanism? Yeah, it does. Okay. All right. So yeah, that does make sense. That's a theory I have right now. So two possible things happening at once. Because yeah, this looks like it could totally be. This looks like it could be an adjustable piece. This is like a scissoring piece right here, where this piece underneath could be adjusted and brought forward to where it rests against that tooth right there, that hook, and more readily is able to engage. Anyway, that's my update. This is beginning to be complex, but I won't lie, I'm having fun. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle that's meant to be solved. All the pieces are there. I can tell that all the pieces are there. Nothing feels straight up broken. It's just something has come out of alignment. And maybe it's something just as simple as that, like a just piece needs to be tightened and adjusted. Okay, that's my update. Thanks.